Okay, we are outside and we are ready to hit these with the first coat of filler primer. So what you want to use is something like this. And when I say something like this, use this, because this can is fantastic. It covers beautifully, it's so easy to sand, it's smooth, it doesn't gunk up, it doesn't gunk up your sandpaper that bad. There's a 2-in-1 filler primer that you can get that I think Rust-Oleum makes. It's also fairly popular amongst creators, but I found this and I love this. I used to use the 2-in-1 filler primer from Rust-Oleum, and this is leaps and bounds better. It's a little bit more expensive, but if you find it in person versus like on Amazon, usually you can find this in an automotive store. I found mine in O'Reilly's. There's a gray and a red. The red seems to do better, but they're both really good. If you can find either of them, that's really good. But you're specifically looking for this filler primer. And so the first plan is to now coat these in it with a coat or two, and then we will sand and we'll see what that looks like. So let's put some filler primer on this. As you can see, we are in my paint booth, which is my front yard. So I would love to have a proper place to do my painting, but this is what we got to work with, so we're gonna make it work. So everything has been primed. You can see it is actually black. I used a black sandable primer. So you sand and you use filler primer, and you sand and you use filler primer, and you repeat that and repeat that and repeat that, and eventually you can start changing the color of your primer. I used a sandable primer just to exaggerate the lines that are left in there so that you can really tell what needs additional working on. So I have spent the last couple of days repeating that process until I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully it comes out well. It looks pretty good so far, so I think we'll be okay. So now whenever spend as much time as you need on that step, because the more work you put in there, the better it'll come out in the long run. But now that I'm ready to move forward, I'm going to be painting it with this Krylon gloss black. I'm going to start real slow. It's just going to be dustings initially to get a solid base coat going, and then I'll build up from there slowly, because I'm going to be doing this with the chromed Aluma-Luster look from the Mandalorian TV series. But in order to get a good chrome, you need to have a good black under that. So the next step in this is going to be hitting it with a gloss black. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. All right, we are slowly but surely wrapping up on this project. So I've got a nice shiny black on it right now. The layers went on really well. It's super reflective. I love the way it looks. And now one of the final steps is to hit it with a clear coat. So I'm gonna hit it with a 1K clear coat, a Duplicolor 1K clear coat. This stuff is the best. It's a gloss finish. So we're gonna dust it on real light initially, because you don't want to go too heavy with a clear coat. So you want to get just a nice base coat initially. So I'm gonna put a nice, just a simple base coat, a light dusting, and then once that's settled after about 15 or 20 minutes, then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put on, hey cat, what are you doing here? Then I'm gonna put on a heavier clear coat that will make it a wet finish and will give it a lot of shine. And then once that sets for about a day or so, then we'll be able to put the graphite rub on and make it look really metallic-y. So let's go ahead and hit this thing with some clear coat. All right, we're finally back to working on this thing. We are on basically the last step, and this is going to be Where is it? Here it is. This is going to be graphite rubbing. So this is a graphite powder. I got this off of Amazon. I don't remember how much it was. It's probably like, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe $10. Wasn't super expensive, and it goes a really long way. But this is really great. You're going to see the finish that it gives you. So you want a glossy black coat is the primary base coat that's going on here, and then you hit it with this, and you literally just take cotton swabs, and I say cotton swabs, dip it in this powder, and then you rub the powder across the surface that you're wanting to stain, essentially, and then you just buff it in there. And so you can spend as much time as you want buffing it in there. You can play around with how much powder you put on, how much time you spend buffing, how much muscle you put into buffing, but play around with it until you got it down to a science. It's fairly forgiving. Like it goes on a lot easier than you might think. Like my son's, his came out really good, and I honestly didn't use that much graphite rub on it. So we'll see. This is one that I'm actually going to be selling, so I'm going to take a decent amount of time with this one just to make sure that it comes out close to perfect. But you're going to see just what a difference this stuff makes. So let's do this thing. Taking a moment's break here. Look at the difference between the non-graphite rub versus the graphite rub. Just look at that. That's beautiful. So this looks shiny and reflective, and like look, you can see the reflection of my phone basically, and this like that looks really great. But that is the classic Mando vibe that we're going for. So let's keep going at it. One thing I forgot to mention that I probably should mention is that you really want to wear gloves when you're doing this. I forgot, and I don't have gloves on me, so I'm just going to do it, but you'll stain your fingers for a day or two doing this. That stuff stays on there for a little while, so keep that in mind if you're doing this. I'm not responsible for you staining your fingers for a couple of days. Alright, back to it. Now it's time for the big boy. Let's do this. Okay, so taking a break here for a moment. That looks like a Mando helmet, doesn't it? And then look at the difference between the two when you look at the other side. It doesn't look like that much until you start getting into it, and that looks really good. I'm kind of amazed at how good this is coming out. So I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna finish this guy off. We're gonna glue these pieces together, and we're gonna stick the visor in, and we're gonna call it a day. Okay, so you've done all this graphite rub. The next thing you want to do is you just want to get some paper towels, and you just want to wipe off all the pieces that you just graphite rubbed. You want to make sure that there's no excess powder, that it's free of debris. So I already put a clear coat on this, like as you guys saw earlier in the video. So this doesn't need an additional clear coat. Some people, if you want to, you can, but there's not really a need. This stuff does not really rub off. If it does rub off, just put on more. Don't worry about fingerprints. Like, you have to really be pushing into this thing to leave fingerprints in it. And, like, real metal would get fingerprints too. So don't stress too much about that. It'll be okay. This stuff works really good for, like, any kind of metallic thing that you're wanting to do. So if you want to do swords with it, or let's say you're getting ready for a Renaissance fair and you're 3D printing props for that, this would go great for that kind of armor. There's really a wide variety of stuff that you could do with the graphite rub, but I wouldn't worry too much about leaving fingerprints on it or ruining this finish. It's pretty sturdy. We just want to make sure that there's no excess powder on these, so we're just gonna wipe them off real quick, and then we're gonna glue this stuff together, stick the helmet in, and call it a day. So now what we want to do is we want to take the pieces that we need to glue in, and we just want to scuff them up just a little bit with some sandpaper. And we're going to do the same thing with the parts of the helmet where the ears and the back vent connect. We just want to make sure that the glue has something powerful, rough enough to adhere to. So. This is where you want to be really careful when you're doing it on the helmet. You do not want to go outside of the marks that you're trying to hit. I don't want to ruin this beautiful finish. Okay. Now, we are going to use a special glue. So this is a super glue with, it's a cyanoacrylate, right? So it's got the glue and an activator, and it is basically this instantaneous bond. So we're gonna put the glue on one part. I'm gonna spray the activator on the other. So let's start with this back vent. All right, final step, last step, and then we're listing this bad boy on Etsy. But it's putting in the visor. So this is a visor that I made myself. I cut out some plastic and I window tinted it myself. I'm dumb, and I probably should have gotten footage of me doing this so that I could explain how to do this as part of this tutorial video. But maybe that'll be its own video at a future date. But for the time being, there are plenty of people who have videos on this on the internet already. Frankly Built has them. I think Galactic Armory has them. There are plenty of sources out there where you can get this information on how to tint plastic, or use window tint. So I just tinted this myself. Pretty happy with it. It's simple. My edges could be better, but it's nothing crazy. But it basically is like a sunglasses shade, and so right now you can see through it fairly well. I don't think you have any trouble seeing me through that. The moment you put something behind this, so the moment we block it off inside of the helmet, we won't be able to see inside of the helmet anymore, and it'll look like a Mando helmet. So I'm going to make sure that this side is facing out towards us. This side will be on the inside, and then I'm going real simple. I'm literally just going to use Gorilla Tape to tape this bad boy in there. You can do Velcro, you can do magnets, you can do straps, some people will drill them in depending, if they don't mind putting holes in their helmet. There's lots of different routes you can go. I'm selling this to somebody, so I want to give them the options if they're wanting to at some point change up how they mount this in there. That's the tape. You can always just take the tape off. So that just about does it for this video. I can't believe we're wrapped up on this project. Super happy with the way it came out. And so just do it step by step, pay attention to the steps. The more work you put into the pre-work, the prep work, the better the finish is going to be. And give yourself some room to make mistakes. I made so many mistakes with my earlier props, and I'm super happy with the way that they're coming out now. I just got into this hobby like 7 months ago, and I think that is a quality. I think that's a quality prop. So give yourself some credit. Be patient. Learn through the mistakes. It might not necessarily be ruined when you think it's ruined. Take a breath. Take a step back when you need to take a step back and reevaluate. and you know, you can do this. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you like this video. If you learned anything useful, subscribe if you want to see more content, because I really want to make more content. I love doing this kind of stuff, and this stuff is going for sale. It's going to be up for sale. I have an Etsy shop. The Etsy shop is called the Pratt Printing Press. Imagine that, just like the channel here. So go check it out if you want. I've got a bunch of raw prints and all kinds of just different knickknacks and whatnot. But I'm going to have finished products as well, and this right here is going to be my first finished product that is going to be listed on the shop. So if you would, please show some support there and try to get that channel growing as well. But I think that's it for this video. So we'll have some new content coming out soon. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Thanks for those who have been watching and supporting as I've been building this. And if you want this, it can be yours. But if you have any questions, just let me know. And let me know in the comment section, what do you want me to see? What do you want to see me build next? Yeah, that'd be awesome. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Bye.